So, I had a bit of a run in with the police in Spain when I visited in the spring of this year. It really impacted me in ways I wouldn't have expected, and one of the impacts was on this YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to share about what happened and give you an update on what to expect from this channel going forward. Hi, my name is Nicole. Welcome to my channel, Travel to Money, where I share about how to travel, adventure, and have fun on the road to financial independence. So, about a year ago, I bought a small DJI drone in hopes of elevating the content I created for this channel. And I think it really helped to show unique views of some of the areas that I talk about. Drones are still a relatively new type of flying device, and rules and regulations are fast changing around the world. With the drone I have, and probably with most drones, it tells you if there are any restrictions and won't let you fly if you are in a restricted area. At some point, when I first began flying my drone, I checked to see what the laws were in Spain. I read that because of the weight of my drone, it was considered a toy and didn't need to be registered. I would fly it occasionally, mostly when I was filming a small town for a YouTube video. I am not the kind of creator that wants to draw attention in public. So, for the most part, I've always flown the drone in more private, quiet spaces. I actually have a real sensitivity to not wanting to intentionally film other people, especially if you can see their faces. Sometimes it's impossible to avoid, but I just think about how I wouldn't want my face to randomly be on someone else's posted videos. So it's something I try to avoid. So, back in April or May of this year, I met a friend in a nearby beach town that is rather touristy. After we had lunch, I thought maybe I should pull out the drone and film the seaside. I had never really flown it within the view of other people watching, but other than the takeoff and landing, it's not really that noticeable. So I pulled off to an area with a flat surface and flew the drone up and down the coastline for about 8 to 10 minutes, capturing some really beautiful scenic views. As I landed the drone, I picked it up and was folding up the wings when a woman approached me and very nicely asked me something in Spanish, but I didn't understand what she was saying. Then I realized that she was a police officer. One of the things I really like about the Spanish police is that they are often paired up, male and female. Anyway, we were just politely working to understand each other when I heard a man yelling. I looked up, and a very tall man, I'm talking at least 6.5 feet tall, with blonde hair longer than mine and a thick Northern European accent, was charging at me, yelling in English about filming over his house. He began to threaten me, saying he was going to throw rocks at my drone, and as he charged up to me, he got so aggressively in my face that the male officer, who was only about half this guy's size, threw his arms around him and pulled him to a distance apart from me, not allowing him to speak to me anymore. Before he was pulled away, the only response I had was to remain calm, lift my hands just slightly, and say, "Okay, okay, okay." In that moment, I felt a combination of embarrassment and fear. I knew people were probably onlooking, and I hated being involved in any kind of disturbance, especially in a country like Spain where you just never see aggressive behavior. But I just stayed focused on the officers the whole time. The female officer stayed with me, and the male officer with the other guy. At some point, the tall man walked away and then came back maybe 10 minutes later. I have no idea what he was doing. The officer questioned me about my drone, but they were really chill, and she could tell by talking to me that I wasn't doing anything to disturb anyone. She mentioned to me that this was not the first time with something concerning drones and this guy. It was clear that all the police knew who he was, which reminded me of something a therapist told a friend of mine. If it's hysterical, it's historical. Meaning, if someone has a large reaction, it is likely due to something in their past. I could tell the officer felt bad for even stopping to talk to me about it, but she was just doing her job because I guess the guy had run himself down to the police station. It appeared at some point that they were done with me, so I was about to walk away, but I wanted to wait and tell the female officer thank you for taking the time to speak to me in English. But then another officer pulled up in a car and began barking orders at the other two. He seemed kind of bullyish, and I couldn't tell if he was their boss or if he was just bossy. He got out of the car, inspected my drone, demanded my information like my passport, my address in Spain, and other personal information. He was on the phone with someone trying to figure out the laws because even they didn't know. He ended up communicating to me through the female officer that there are new laws in that town that were not currently in effect, but that would be starting in 3 months' time. So, of course, I'm thinking, well, why am I still here? From what I gathered, the only problem was that my drone wasn't registered in Spain, which is free to do online, but was the thing I thought I didn't need to do because of the weight of the drone. The critical difference was that even drones underweight, if they have a camera, still need to be registered, which I didn't know. Who even flies a drone without a camera? What's the point? Anyway, they took all my information and were reporting it to some governing authority, but they had no idea what that would mean for me. Just to be absolutely clear, at no point was I breaking any laws at the time of filming that day. The issue was purely administrative, a regulation I was unaware of, not an illegal flight. I never want to bother anyone with my cameras. I was not flying over anyone's private property that day, nor do I ever film with my drone up close. Everything is scenic, wide angle stuff. Had that man simply walked up to me and expressed his concern, I would have kindly deleted anything he wanted me to, no questions asked, even though I wasn't filming his home. Honestly, I'm really curious what he's doing in his house that makes him so concerned about it being on film. I digress. I left there feeling really shaken up. The combination of being charged at by a large man, dealing with the police, especially after that last jerk of an officer arrived, and then worrying about what that reporting would mean. Of course, I went to the worst case scenarios in my head. I sat frozen in my car for 30 minutes. I am not good at being in trouble. I'm definitely a rule follower, so I just felt so overwhelmed. I went home that night and Googled everything I could think of to better understand the laws and what kind of fine I could be facing. There was nothing particularly clear. It just said that drone fines can be from 60 euro to over 200,000 euro. That didn't make me feel any better. And something I learned when I got home and read about other people's experiences is that often they had their SIM cards or even their drones confiscated. But in my case, the police never took my SIM card, nor did they ever look at any of my footage. So technically, they really don't have any evidence of what I filmed. Not that there was anything illegal on there anyway, but it's an interesting detail. It feels a bit silly to me talking about it now because I think my emotional response was feeling a lot bigger than the situation called for. I was feeling deep anger toward the man who charged at me. I would go over and over in my head what I wish I would have said to him, and it wasn't nice. I've been in a few situations where I've been either physically mistreated or verbally mistreated by a few different men throughout my life. So I think I have some historical trauma in that area that this really brought to the surface. Then my knuckles and other spots on my body began to break out in eczema, which is a stress response I had never experienced before. It felt like a really heavy couple of weeks. Just prior to this incident, I had announced on this channel that I was going to be splitting the channel into a few different channels. But in the days, weeks, and months after that incident, I was struggling to find the joy that I personally need to sit and make these videos. Maybe it would have been different if my livelihood depended on this channel, but since it doesn't bring in much monetarily, that doesn't really play a part, which is nice in some ways. Since then, I've only posted two videos. That whole thing just sucked so much joy out of the process for me. So I gave myself permission to step away from my weekly posting schedule and to just post whenever I feel like I can pull a video together. Well, that hasn't worked out all that well either. I think what I've decided to do is to go back to my one channel model, and I'm going to start posting at least 2 videos per month with the goal of being back to weekly videos by the start of the new year. YouTube has also changed how it runs its algorithm, and instead of seeing people you subscribe to in your feed, you are likely to see video topics that you are most interested in, even if you don't subscribe to them. That makes me feel better about going back to my one channel model because if you are only interested in the videos I post about Spain, then that is what you are most likely to see in your feed. And if I post a video about a different topic like world travel or personal finance, if you haven't shown interest in those topics, then your feed probably won't show you those videos. Of course, I really appreciate all of you who watch all of my videos, but I just want to help set an expectation about what you'll see from me going forward. I never ended up hearing anything about the drone situation again. My guess is that when the type of drone was reported, they probably tossed it out. But who knows? This is Spain and things move slowly, so maybe 5 years from now I'll get a fine in the mail. I did look up laws concerning how this man threatened me, and it turns out that I could have pressed charges against him, especially since I had 2 officers as witnesses. I hope I never encounter another person like that, but in the event that I do, they better watch out. I haven't been able to bring myself to fly the drone anymore. I don't know if those days are over for me, but hopefully you'll still enjoy my videos without that specific footage. I did film a few places before this incident, so I look forward to introducing you soon to Andara and a few small towns just inland from Pego. Maybe one day I'll put that beach footage up too. Before I wrap up, I want to take a minute to acknowledge that I know there are much worse things that people have to go through. I just wanted to explain why I haven't been posting as much, and hopefully you can take something from it. Thank you so much for your support and for sticking around while I've been on this break of sorts. You all are such a wonderful community, and I look forward to continuing this journey together. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to join me every day, where travel and adventure build financial freedom. I can't wait to see where your dreams will take you.